chat. I see you there. I know you're seeing me like this for the first time. I had some snafus, but I'm here. I'm through my phone, so give me a 5-5 in the chat if you can hear me. Hi, Chastity. Hi, Moon. Hi, Gerald, moderator. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to do this chat. I have been online friends with my guests since probably 2017, and we have some similarities that we're going to talk about today, but more than anything, I can't wait to share her high vibes and what she's doing for humanity in society. Talk about wayshower. This is my guest, Nancy O'Brien Simpson, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. And I have to do a shout out to the map maker, my bestie, Dylan Lewis Monroe, who I adore. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Dylan. I hope you're in here. Kudos to you, Dylan. So I guess that brings me to our first connection. Thanks for the 5-5, Chastity. I want to make sure you hear me okay. It was pandemonium around here. My kids, I'm like, get me a charger, stat, all this stuff. Anyway, glad you can hear me. So back into the 45 admin, and I founded there's a group of us that got together. I hosted a gathering of like minds, kind of like the tinfoil gang of SoCal. And my dear pal Nancy was doing that as well in Cincinnati, correct?
Yes.
And you met Dylan Monroe, and you gathered tons of people together. Hostess with the mostess right here. Oh, he's watching. Hi, Dylan.
Dylan, we love you.
Dylan, we passed your map around in our meetings. We'd be like, look at this guy. We defended him. And we originally called DTI because we found each other under that Destroying the Illusion thread. And then we separated ourselves because we didn't like what was happening, nor what happened with you, Dylan. So we're like, we're the gathering of like minds, period. And so I've always wanted to connect with you, Nancy. I'm like, we're like the different time zones doing the similar things. But as not just that, I'm sorry, I'll let you talk, but I'm really fascinated that she worked as a director within the federal prison system, and she was even flipping that light. So we got lots to talk about. So Nancy, thank you for being here and playing.
It is my pleasure and my honor.
Woohoo! Well, I'm not sure where to start first, except I do know that you light up the airwaves literally on a radio station. Do you want to share what that's about? I know you have a segment there.
So what happened with that was in November, I broke myself. I had a brutal fall and my hip literally broke off of my body. My femur broke in half, my ball and socket popped off. I had major surgery and I was in the hospital for a month. And when I was in the hospital for a month, I had the best time. Like the food was insanely good. You could eat as much food as you wanted all day long. It was like Grubhub. You could have anything you wanted and it was delicious. The nurses came in and we laughed. I felt like I was in a sorority in college. And I would have friends come in and they'd be like, how are you? And I'd be like, I'm having so much fun. And they're like, what? And I was like, oh my gosh, it is so. And they're like, what are you talking about? I said, the nurses are like girlfriends. The food is insane. It's one. And so I had a friend who came, Jerry Hoff, and he had a radio show, The Brighter Day. And I'm going, Jerry, it's just awesome. And he's like, he's thinking. So when I got out of the hospital, he contacted me and he goes, you are the most positive human being I have ever met. I need you on my show. I'm like, I'm there. I'm totally there. So every week I get to do a commentary. He gives the topic of the show, and then I get to do my commentary on what I think about it. And it has been just a joy. Thank you, Jerry. Yeah, joy.
I love that. Thank you, Jerry. And that's 88.3. Is that
it? 88.3 FM. And it's like your program. You can tap in from anywhere in the United States. And you just go to their webpage. I think it's waifradio.org. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, not to go overlook this, because I remember watching you on Facebook. Let's just say something about that healing. I swear that positive energy you had, you healed faster than the doctors imagined, right? You were projected.
Yeah. So the surgeon, when I went in after I got out of the hospital, I was supposed to be on a walker, I don't know, 3-4 months. And I go in and I'm walking around and the surgeon's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm walking." And he goes, "No." He said, you can't be walking." I said, "But I am." And he's like, "I've been a surgeon for, I have a video. I made him do a video because I said, nobody's going to believe this. So he said, "I've been a surgeon for X number of years. What you are doing is medically impossible. I've never seen it. It's impossible." And I asked him, I said, "Well, why do you think this is happening?" Like, and because he's just going on and on. "You can't be doing this." And he said, "The best I can figure is you are so positive that your positivity went into your bones and healed them." It's like, okay, I'll take that. I like that.
Yeah. I align with that big time, because everything is frequency and energy, and your body's meant to regenerate, and you're just exuding high vibe, good frequency.
Hey, Heidi, along those lines, we need to do this then. In about 2005, I was diagnosed with stage 4 leukemia. And yes, and it was a very bad leukemia in that it got in my eyes and I went legally blind. I couldn't drive. I couldn't read. I was in bad shape. And my neutrophils had gone down to almost 0. And I developed a strategy of loving my leukemia. When I got the leukemia, I was completely devastated when they told me that it was an incurable leukemia that was generally fatal. I lost it. Everything went gray. I would lay in my bed at night, Heidi, and I would picture worms, leukemic worms that were multiplying inside of me, growing, and they were eating me and they were going to kill me. And I'm laying in bed with these multiplying worms, basically going crazy. Everything is just dark. It's gray. And I was sitting in a Unity church one Sunday, and whoever Pat Williamson was the pastor, and he was saying, now I'm there looking at everybody, everything's gray. I'm feeling like I'm dying with the worms eating me, and everybody else is living and alive. And he said, "There is no child dying, no divorce, no illness, no valley, no bankruptcy, no fire. There is no place on earth that the face of God is not." And in that moment, Heidi, I had a true miracle in that, apart from me or anything I could conjure up, because I was deep in depression. I couldn't conjure anything positive, but it was the grace of the universe coming down on me. And every single worm, leukemic worm that was multiplying, had the face of God on it, so that my body was filled not with leukemia, but with the face of God. And then everything went into technicolor, and I wasn't dying anymore. I was alive. I had been given another day to live. I was alive. When I went home, and I know this sounds woo, and forgive me for all the non-woos out there, but when I got home, the leukemia spoke to me, and it said these words. It said, "Nancy, we love you, but we've lost our way. We don't know how to stop dividing. We don't want to hurt you. We love you. If you die, we die." And then my leukemia said, "Let's get well together. Let's work together." And so my leukemia and I became besties, and we ate the right food together, and we went through treatment together, and we became best friends. And then at the end of all of this, my leukemia said, I want you to think about us being besties. And I'm like, yeah. And the leukemia said, think of all the things we've learned together: courage, strength, faith, support from friends that was amazing, and family. And my leukemia really was a gift to me. And we just became best friends. And I would like to say to everybody out there, when you get a cancer or a bad diagnosis, when you go to war with it, what kind of energy is war energy? I hate you, leukemia. F you, leukemia.
Yes.
Negative energy. But if we can love our arthritis, love our leukemia, love our heart disease, and work with it, make our body a temple of love, not war, love. Whatever is wrong with you, go to that and love it. Love it into health.
Oh, the love frequency heals. That's it. Tim, I just saw you. Said, wait, what I missed? Stage 4 leukemia.
Blind.
Hi, Professor, who is all about frequency and energy. What'd you think of that juicy nugget on the table? Hi, Moon at Noon, Roger Blair. I see you guys. This is beautiful because this aligns with a lot of my posts and a lot of things that I've championed, which is the love frequency, as well as we are meant to heal. And I have said that before. I went toe to toe with someone like, I've stopped marching and wearing pink, and you don't F cancer. You love it to death. And that's the story I hear from those who heal themselves. It's been about embracing their situation and loving it away. So kudos. That's beautiful, Nancy. Thank you for sharing that. Oh my, but also, so that was with that huge diagnosis, literally broken bones, healing faster than even surgeons could comprehend. So my goodness, I'm like, where do I go from there? Do we talk about prisons?
We can talk about I was in the prison for over a decade. My official title was the clinical coordinator of a cognitive behavioral program called Therapeutic Community, TC. And in TC, it was a lockdown facility for felony offenders. And we had, the program was literally all day and all night. And what we did was we reparented. We took these mostly young men, and we treated them like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, where we were a community of respect and love. And when the men greeted each other in the morning, they would shake hands and go, hello, Mr. Smith. Hello, Mr. Jones. And they called each other by Mr. Jones, Mr. Smith, Mr. Alexander, Mr. Wood. And we then had those men govern themselves. We picked the scene. They voted for who would be their leader, called the senior coordinator. And so they monitored themselves, and they made sure that their community was functioning. And if somebody did something wrong, they were the ones that outed them, selected what type of a behavioral modification that person might need. And it was a magical kingdom of love. And when those men left, I would say 1 out of every 7 cried, not because they didn't want to go home, they did, but they knew they were in a place where we saw them not as repeat felons, felony offenders. My staff was, they all were, most everyone had a graduate degree, and they were true believers in humanity. They were humanitarians, and we saw the beauty in each of our men, and we saw the potential in each of our men, and we mirrored to them how beautiful they really were and what they could accomplish and what gifts they had. And we didn't want anything from them. We didn't even expect them not to reoffend when they left. We just loved them because they were beautiful human beings, and they might have gotten off the path, but who doesn't? That happens. We saw in them the beauty of their human souls. I'm gonna cry, but
I know.
we love
And look
them.
at what Moon says, that like you're saying you're healing your body with love. The Moon is saying love straight as opposed to scared straight. Yes, that's it. That's
yes,
it, Moon.
Yes, Moon. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So you're just like checking the box of humanity. Like, what else can I do? What else can I do? You're a mama too.
I have 5 babies that came out of me. Yeah, one at a time. And every child, I never really have thought too highly of normalcy. And I don't think I really raised my children to be normal, but they all turned out to be successful, normal, beautiful adults. And I think I'm the wildest one of the bunch.
What did they say about that? What did they say about your healing journey or working within the prison system? Were they supportive? Are they like, go mama? Or are they like, don't get, are they worried for you?
They they grew up with me. So it's like, I think somewhere in the Bible, it says a prophet is never really anything big in their own hometown. So to them, I'm just mom. And all these things that happen to mom are just kind of par for the course. Yeah.
Just align with it. That's so sweet. Yeah. I love that. Do you still gather with your peeps? I know you had a huge gathering that you were hosting.
It was huge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was called the Tinfoil Society of Cincinnati, Ohio. And Tinfoil Society of Cincinnati, Ohio. And we had about 500 members on our Facebook page. And then maybe 20 to 30 people would meet in my house once a month. And it was the greatest group of free thinkers, wild ass children who, I call them children. They were in their 30s, but to me, they were my kids. And they were just the greatest, most eclectic group. And they, when COVID came, because I had been immunocompromised from the leukemia and we did not meet in my home anymore. And so since then, I have not had that Tinfoil Society back in my house, but I've lately been having this thing of starting a new Tinfoil Society, maybe calling it Out of the Box, but thinkers. But anyway, so I meet with, I'm still friends with them, and I still love them with all my heart. It's parties, and I get invited, and it's great. Yeah,
that's beautiful. Yeah, the built-in support system. Yeah,
yes.
It's a lot to host energetically. It's a lot to put on, and sometimes I was doing that here, and then when it faded out, I'm like, well, you guys host, and I'll come be a guest.
Heidi, ours were. I loved it. I look forward to them. Ours were so fun in that, like at Christmas, we had a gift exchange and everybody brought a gift and exchanged it. It was a blast. On Valentine's Day, we all wore red and took selfies of ourselves all in red. And it was just a fun group. And we just, hosting it was literally a blast for me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It felt like I was young again.
Oh, well, you are. You're ageless. Are you kidding me? And that's what's so funny. I see you, Jane. Hi, Jane. How are you? In Area 51. I see you there. Nancy needs to join the Geezer. So Carol is on the show, Geezer Geeks. Well, I know she's ageless, but you guys do have to get her on. They have a really fun high vibe chat that they do every Saturday night. So you might have to check them out. And this is so funny to do this from my phone. So much. 51, I'm happy to see you again. Thank you for being back here. If anyone has any questions for Nancy, just throw them up there and I can share them with her. This is our first time talking face to face. This morning, we sent a couple talk texts, but we've been mostly texting. And so I'm just like giddy as a schoolgirl to officially meet you.
I knew we were kindred spirits for everybody listening when about 20 minutes ago, Heidi texts me or messages me and says, I didn't charge my charger. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, a kindred spirit. Oh my goodness. That is exactly what I would. Yeah, that is exactly what I would do.
And shout out to Neil. I don't know if I see Castle Dude here yet. He's going live at noon, but I did a panic talk text to him and he goes, just use your phone. I do it all the time. And I'm like, but. And I'm like, oh yeah, solutions. Yes. And I just went on it. My little man.
I totally fell in love with you when you said that. I was like, my girl. Heidi is my girl. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm like, we'll make this work. And then my hubby was even like, are you mad at us? I'm like, no, it's my fault. I didn't charge it. We have a charger issue in the house and I'm the culprit. I usually break them, lose them, kidnap them. I'm the charger thief. And then ultimately the charger's demise is on me.
Heidi, since this is the first time we met.
Yeah.
And you are the interviewer interviewing me, but I am literally dying to know, before Jordan Sather and Destroying the Illusion, what was your political leanings or background?
I fell into libertarianism for a while. Okay. And before 2016, I was like, end the two-party system. Enough is enough. You know, like, what y'all doing? You're just waiting for a leader, you know, whatever. And then I really doubled down on 2016 to 2020. And I still, to this day, as a mom, as an educator, as everything, I tell people I've read every amendment that 45's admin did. I told them, I didn't give them the manufactured MSN storyline. I told them what actually happened, the amendments, the laws. And I told those to my kids. And I said, this is who people don't like. And then by 2020, all those things were overturned. We're back in war, you know, and that's who everyone likes. I go, what would you do? I'm trying to teach them critical thinking. And they're like, why didn't they just keep it how it was? I'm like, I don't know. Good question. So, but as far as today, I stepped away from the arena because my energy was getting hijacked and I manipulated. And I'm like, I subscribe in my heart to certain things, but the only way I'm going to see any progress in my 3D life is if I create it myself. I'm a creator being. We all are. And so that's why I'm like, you know what? This doesn't deserve my attention right now. I'm going to shift things myself. I'm going to do it myself, everybody. Go wait in the election booth if you need, but I got to try to create and raise kids to change the planet for us. My heart knows where it's at, and I just implore more and more people to lead with their heart and choose love in whatever avenue that, you know, stop the fighting is what I'm all about. What do you think? How's that?
Yeah. The interesting thing is, I don't think we give ourselves enough credit. And that's why your program, your podcast is so important and profound, because we create the zeitgeist of the world with our thoughts. We literally are creators. Yeah. So that when we are in the car going, how could you effing pull in front of me? Or shut up, kid, or I hate Trump, or I hate Biden, and we put this negative energy into the zeitgeist. Likewise, when we wake up and go, ooh, we got another day to love, to nurture, to spread kindness. And then when we go out into the world and we don't walk past people, we see people, we look at people, we tell them, hi, how are you? Every time we think thoughts of love and goodness, it goes out. It goes out. We are power plants of thoughts, power plants of creativity. And wherever we go, we're transmitting either love, kindness, joy, or
yes.
we want to be transmitting love, kindness, joy, goodness, and we especially want to be transmitting that to, well, to everybody, but especially the disenfranchised, the weak, the sick, especially those people. The more we can love on them, the better.
Yes. That's it. It's just, we've all experienced that. If you go into a room in a bad mood, you'll get a bad energy in return. If you go in a good mood, that's infectious too. So we get to choose our own adventure in that regards. And if you're just tuning in, the first several minutes of this program, you will hear Nancy literally say how she reversed stage 4 terminal diagnosis. She reversed broken bones quicker than surgeons realize. The love frequency is higher than all of the crazy stuff going on there. Hi, Alex. I have to share this really quick. Alex was saying, I've been listening as someone who worked in the prison system. I'm so proud of you, Nancy, for showing many what love and light looks like. One saw bars and the other saw stars. That's it. And where do you think those humans are that you've worked with? Are they out committing more crimes, or are they out there showing their divine self what they can do, like flipping, like that they get out and actually do good within the world? I mean, that's what we're aiming for, right?
They were there, as I said before, not because they were bad seeds and not because they were bad. They were there mostly because of poverty and because of a lack of parenting. They were there because their culture that they lived in and that they grew up in was one of crime and violence. And they drop out of high school. They don't have a GED. They've never held a job. They have maybe 2 kids, and they can make $80,000 to $100,000 on the corner. And that's not even the high-powered ones. That's just the low ball. And they can make all that money, and then they support, like, they have 5 children, 5 babies, mamas, an aunt, a mother, just a granny. And it's a cultural thing that they fall into. So when they left us, many of them still didn't have a GED, although we helped a lot of them get their GED while they were with us, but a lot of them left without it. They had gun charges. They were felony offenders. They had 3 children, a sick aunt, a sick granny. There was nothing out there for them, so we understood they would probably go back to how they knew to make money. And we didn't judge them for that. We understood, and we still loved them.
Yeah. Did any stay in touch with you?
Yes, they're on my Facebook page. Shane Aker, I love you. Gregory Buford, I love you. Tommy Large, I love you. Yes, definitely. Harry, I love you. Yeah, a lot of them.
Facebook for the win again. As much as we love to hate it.
Yeah, Facebook for the win again, definitely. Yeah,
it's uniting us and it's airing there. So hello to the Facebook peeps. Catherine Wright, I see you on there. Hello to you. I know you couldn't see it, you said, but our comments coming through. There's a lot of YouTube, but I see my Facebook pals. So thank you. Thank you for supporting. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And again, Carol, if you scroll up, Carol posted the link to the radio commentary that Nancy's doing, but also you can find her Facebook on there. I'm not done. I'm just doing my little midway advert. Well, so you're literally showing the healing, the prison system flipping light, motherhood, all these beautiful things. Do you have, I know you champion love and light when you're out and about, but is there, it seems like it's just your energy that does it, but do you have words of wisdom you find you share more than others? Do you find you run into a certain type of people and it's just your hug that does it, or just spending a few moments with them flips them? Or have you run into any, I'm asking you a million questions at once, or have you run into anybody and you're like, they're so covered in darkness that I'm afraid to get close? Have you been in, that's a lot.
The hardest thing that I have recently experienced is I had a family member that got mad at me for my political opinions and said mean things that really hurt my feelings. And if it wasn't a family member, you could make a boundary and just say, well, I'm going to love you from afar. But if it's a family member that you love with all your heart, you can't really make a boundary like that. You just can't. And for all of you out there who have read the book, The Giving Tree, The Giving Tree is about a tree that loves a little boy. And the little boy comes and it eats the apples from the tree, and the tree is so happy. And then it cuts the branches off of the tree to make a little house, and the tree is so happy. And then it gets to be a man and it cuts the logs off of the tree because it wants to build a house, and the tree is so happy just to give because she loves the little boy. And then before you know it, there's no more tree. She's just a stump. And the little boy came and sat on the stump. That was all that was left of the tree. And the tree, the book says, the tree was just happy that the little boy, that the man now was sitting on her stump. And I've always kind of thought of myself as the giving tree. You can, if I have anything I have, I want to give it to you. Take my branches, take my anything. I just want to love you. But when the family member said those things about me, I didn't want to be the giving tree anymore because it hurt too bad. And to be misunderstood like that and to have bad things said about me, I didn't want to be the giving tree. I wanted to self-justify. I would go on my walk every day and I would go, how could he do that? Well, anyway, how could he do that? How could he think that? How could he not know how much I love him and the world and blah, blah, blah. And I was on this self-justifying, judging him, wanting to protect myself and build a wall so that, he couldn't hurt me. And I went through a couple months of agony because loving is not this, Pollyanna, let's just love her. Sometimes love hurts. And sometimes it's hard to understand when we are hurt, especially by somebody we love. Where do we turn? What do we do? Where do we go? And so it was a couple months that I would literally justify how good I was, how loving I was, and how could this person not see that? And it was not good. It was like chaotic. And then again, just like with the leukemia, the universe came down and blessed me with a miracle. And the universe said, honey, girlfriend, you need to get on the forgiveness train. And I'm like, what? And it's like, you need to hop on the forgiveness train. You need to stop judging. You need to stop self-justifying. You need to go back to being the giving tree and get on the forgiveness train and start chugging. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. So I hopped on the forgiveness train and I was like, no more judgment. You have your reasons for thinking that about me, and it's okay. And maybe that's my karma. Maybe I deserve that. And whatever you do, whatever you say, I love you because I'm on the forgiveness train. I'm on the forgiveness train. And the more I chugged along, the happier I got, the more peace I got, the more joy I got. And it was a journey to get there, but I did it. And the person in question, when I got on the forgiveness train, I didn't even say anything to them. They started doing little outreaches of love to me. And so everything worked out perfectly.
That gives me hope.
But I have to say that so people don't think that love is just this ooey gooey thing that never hurts. And there's once you get on the love train or once you're the giving tree, no, life still can hurt and we still learn lessons, and the universe brings us challenges still that grow our souls. Now, one other thing, if you picture a tree, like these are my branches. I'm a tree. I look more like a deer, right? But I'm really a tree, and these are my branches. So I'm a tree, and my roots are in the earth, and there's thick earth around my roots, so they can't grow. And what is it that will grow the roots on this tree? It's a thunderstorm, and the winds come, and the tree goes like this, and it breaks up the dirt. And that when that happens, the roots can go deeper, but it takes the thunderstorm. So that was a thunderstorm for me. The other thing is, what is it that makes the flowers grow and the plants grow? It is manure. So the universe will bring some manure into our lives, some storms into our lives, and we shouldn't be surprised. And I don't even think we should fight them, because these are the things that grow us. Just like the diamond has to go through the fire or the chops, and the gold goes through the fire. For our souls to grow and be refined, sometimes we're going to have hard times that hurt a lot, but they're going to be growing us. Just like the leukemia grew me, and breaking my bones, and having the person in my family be mean to me, it grows us.
I needed this. Thank you for these gentle reminders, because that forgiveness train, I've missed that depot a few times. And I'm running after it, dangling, trying to be like, wait, I want to take you so bad.
You know, a big key to this too is not judging.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. It's like an instinct to assess fight or flight. You know?
So I'm in the prison, and I've just started working there, and it was a state prison, a county state program. The in that prison, we were mandated by the state to carry 10% sex offender caseload. Okay. So when I got my first sex offender, and they are telling me what they did to the 12-year-old boy in their neighborhood, I was sitting behind my desk, and I just wanted to choke them. I had no unconditional positive regard, which is what is the thing that helps heal in therapy, is that the therapist has unconditional positive regard. I had unconditional negative regard for this person. So I marched into the director of the prison, and I said, I really can't do sex offenders. If you could take them off of my caseload and just give me anybody else. I'll take anything else. Give me a rapist, give me a carjack, give me anybody, but not that. And the director of the prison looked at me, and he said, Miss Simpson, get over yourself. Everybody has sex offender caseload, you included. And I'm like, go back. I'm like, all right. But how could I have positive regard when there was a part of me that hated what they did, and that made me kind of hate them for what they did. So this is a weird story, but shortly after that, I had dinner at a restaurant with somebody that I didn't know, that was a friend of the gentleman I was dating. And so he had gone out of town, and he said, hey, my friend X is going to take you out to dinner while I'm gone. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. And I didn't really know X. I might have met him once. So and he was a gay man, and we were having dinner, and he looked at me and he said, did the man I was dating tell you that I like them light and hairless? And I said, what? And he said, yeah. I like them light and hairless. And it was like he was taunting me, just, and I'm like, I don't even know what that means. He goes, think about it for a while. I'm like, what? He goes, just think about it. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then all of a sudden it hit me. He likes kids. Pre-puberty. Yeah. And I like wanted to throw up. And then he said, I go to Newport and I get toots. He goes, they might be of age, but they look underage. And I'm like, I can't even believe this is happening. And then he said to me, I was raised by wolves. I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, I was raised by wolves. And he said, if I told you what the wolves did, you wouldn't believe it. But they were wolves. And I'm like, what? And then he told me, he said he had 4 brothers and sisters. And when the brothers and sisters got to be in high school, they made a pact that they would never procreate and have children because they were all afraid that they would pass on to their children the genes of the wolves who had so brutalized them. And when he was talking about the wolves, I remember looking at him morph from a monster into a victim. And I realized that the pedophiles that were on my caseload, the vast majority of them were little boys when they had somebody hurt them and molest them, rape them, hurt them, and they got messed up. They got messed up from somebody hurting them. And after I had dinner with, and the universe let me have dinner with this weird man. I mean, it's just so bizarre and strange that it would happen. But when I went back to the prison and when I had my next pedophile offender, sex offender in my office, instead of hating them, I was able to look at them as the child that was hurt and the child that was wounded and the child that got messed up. And it allowed me not to judge. And just like the family member that said something mean about me, the more we can stop the judging, like we're so special, I never do bad things like that. I would never. The more we can give that up and walk more humbly, walk more just knowing that there but by the grace of God go I, and being able to see past bad behavior, past wounding words, past acting out to the beautiful child that was innocent, to the beautiful human that's still in there. Inside of every pedophile, there is a beautiful spirit. And inside of everybody who does anything bad, there's a beautiful spirit that lost their way. And if we can see the beautiful spirit and mirror that back to them, then we put more healing energy into the world.
Nancy, that's huge. That's huge work to be able to do that, to be able to transmute and alchemize a situation like that. So, whoa.
And that is what it is.
Alchemize.
That is it. It's alchemizing the situation, to be an alchemist, to take the yuck, and to apply love and non-judgment to it and turn it into something better. Yes.
You're a warrior. I mean, that's like takes cajones. I feel like that's where there could be continued division in society with the manufactured civil war, is the work it takes to forgive and to step out of that judgment zone. It's a very heavy duty workload, but it's possible. That's possible, what I love showing them.
Yeah, and just let me say this too. It took me months to get on the forgiveness train. like with all I know up here, and with, it took me months of self-justifying and feeling wounded and slighted, and it took me months to hop on that forgiveness train and the non-judgment train, because as I said, life isn't Pollyanna-ish, and it's not. It can be scary, it can be painful, it can be all kinds of things that are just but when we learn to go to the love, to go to the forgiveness train, to go to non-judgment, when we learn to do it, then that alchemy, but it's not easy. I don't want anybody listening to think, oh man, I got this. This is easy, because it's not easy all the time. No.
Not at all. And I think everyone's confronted with that at some point in their life. They're confronted with the choice of how they're going to handle things. I was chastised a lot during those old admin days and things, because people champion like hanging those kind of people in the streets and letting them, like just continued violence. And I go, but doesn't that just create more loose? You're just creating an environment that we're saying we oppose.
Yeah.
So it never made sense to me, violence with violence. And I know some people are disagreeing possibly in the chat there. I see you, Area 51.
And I think that's especially true, Heidi, what you're talking about with the immigrants who came into the United States illegally, and we tend to, we call them illegal immigrants, and we want them out like they're ants, and we're raid, and we want to spray them and get these ants out of here. It's our country, my country, and you came in the wrong way. But really, these are human beings. They're people just like us, and they wanted a better life. And a lot of times they're maids, and they're picking fruit, or they're cleaning restaurants and toilets, and they're humans who just, they just want a better life. And so often we see them as things, ants, undesirables, get them out. But they're human beings too.
Right. Now, I do know some that have come in that way and they've created new, but I think where people get irate are the ones that are paid to, or the mass flooding of some to create a narrative and agenda. I think that's where people get them confused.
And when they get them confused, they tend to lump them all together, when the vast majority, they're just people that are hungry in their country, impoverished, and they eat. Heidi, can you imagine sending a child to America because you think that child's going to have a better life, and you let that kid go on that journey? That I can't even imagine how much pain and poverty it has to be for a mom to send her baby.
Yeah, having known some of them, I understand, and they don't reunite for years and years and years. And I think that's where the line gets skewed lately, is that it's even the system like that has been abused. So, and I see Moon in Area 51, I see you in there too, and I hear you, and I do agree, Moon, that judgment needs to be made, so you can make that choice. You have to assess the situation and choose. I think what Nancy and I are saying, though, is that we're all, I'll just use the word magicians, but we do have the power to switch an energetic field in that moment based on our reactions. So I think that's where maybe we're forming this conversation, is to show just how deep we can take a situation and transmute it. And that goes for even the darkest of dark peeps. Now, there's some, of course, judge and keep yourself safe and, protect yourself at all costs, but that doesn't mean you can't go here with it and go, I surrender, I release, they won't get in my field, I won't engage, but bless them, like may they find their way. There's just a way to human, I think, and then there's a way to not manipulate or something.
And Heidi, you're exactly right. And the other thing is, I don't know who it was, maybe it was Moon, but that said we can judge evil, and we should judge evil, and we should call evil out all the time. And we should have the guts to call evil out. But there is a difference, and it's hard. It is a hard, fine line to walk between calling evil out and hating evil, fighting the darkness. We have to fight the darkness without hating, judging, and crucifying the person who has lost their way. And it is for everybody out there going, we have to judge. You are right. We have to judge darkness. We have to judge evil. We're called to call it out, and to do that without exactly hating the person that's doing the darkness. That line is so hard to find. And for anybody that struggles with it, hello. I mean, that's hard.
Yeah. It is hard. I see you, Juan, too. Appreciate people who can forgive real bad evil because he can't. And he was saying earlier, he's one of those boys that crossed the border. No, I'm sorry, I got that wrong, Area 51. You're the first one that was born in the U.S. from your family line did that as well. Yeah, and if you want to share that tale, it sounds like it's a loaded one. I believe that there are those who have no soul, the empty ones. Moon, as she was just talking last, I was actually thinking of sharing something like that. There is something we've come across on this channel and these communities we follow about entities and darkness and attachments and things that take over souls and beings. And that's via, drugs, alcohol, whatever, but it also literally is a multidimensional energetic thing that happens. So I think that's the grace we're saying, is to find the human in everyone, because they're usually stuck. They're lost, they're stuck, they're trauma, something happened to them, but there is a human in there. One of my dearest pals out here, Nancy, she's acupuncture, that's her 3D show, but in the back room, she does the woo-woo. And she's worked on all types of people. Now, Lady Gaga's closest person who wound up transitioning because she kept pulling this demonic thing on her. And every time she'd go back to work for this woman, it kept coming back in her soul and her spirit and ultimately killed her. But my point is that when she's working on people, she has their human meat suit in front of her, but energetically she sees demons or attachments or things that they can't see. And they're even like, I'm behaving this way or thinking these thoughts or doing these things, and I don't know where it's coming from. I don't have control of it. And so there's practitioners out there that are helping people clear these things, because sometimes it's out of their control. And that doesn't mean you have to excuse everybody, but she finds the human in them and finds the source of what it is. And she can compassionately work on them by, hearing these dark stories, by knowing, but there is a human in there. We're going to help that get healthy so it can overtake all of this darkness. Now that went a little woo-woo, but I think y'all know what I'm trying to say.
I do. I sometimes watch, just because I was in forensic psychology for so long, I sometimes watch crime shows where there are human beings who, like serial killers and people who dismember. And I was in the prison a decade. It was my last job. I was there a decade. And I never saw, I probably saw thousands of felony offenders, and I never saw an empty soul. But when I watch these, the television people who dismember and all that, I have no answers, but I always wonder, was it a genetic thing in there? Something went terribly wrong. Not driven by poverty, not driven by bad parent, just something is so, I wonder, are they even human? Like when you guys were talking about the empty soul or demonic attachment, I never met in all those years in the prison one, but when I see them on television dismembering, I'm like, I don't know. I think of it often. And when I'm with coworkers who, sometimes we get together, people who worked we talk about evil, and we talk about what is it that would make somebody do those heinous, demonic, like, I do not know. And I would fear that person.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where you tune yourself in so much that you can protect yourself. You judge the situation and protect yourself. I could really go far, swing it outfield and say, I mean, we've heard tales of alphabet agencies and the EMFs and voice to skull tech and people being controlled in that manner, or big pharma, or, you know, there's ways to manipulate the human spirit. But circling the whole conversation back, I think the universal what's it called? Truth, or the universal medicine to it all, is love. I think that is the frequency that trumps all of it. And to be a spirit or a soul that can emulate that in every situation they're in, I mean, that just, I kind of feel like it all goes back to that, which sounds so like, oh, cliche or biblical or whatever it is. I'm like, but isn't it? I mean, we've tried it. Yeah.
And living among all of that, living among the inmates and thinking, like, I've spent my whole life thinking about good and bad, evil, non-evil, Jesus, Buddhism. I mean, I just literally, my undergraduate degree was in philosophy, and I love thinking about all of this, the light and the dark and Trump and Biden. And it just, I ruminate over everything. And Heidi, I agree with you. Our only defense, and it is our only defense against all of these new AIs, if there's bad aliens, if there's demonic human beings, our only defense, our only armor is to arm ourselves with love. That is our shield, our protection, our light, our strength. Love.
Yes, I agree. And I pulled this up, Moon, because can a demon take human form? I attest to that from working in Hollywood. You've heard some stories where I've walked around a person and there's even stench. Like, you can tell, okay, this person, there's a demon that's taken this person's form. And sure enough, they're notoriously found on those storylines of really awful stuff that you hear about. I mean, I feel that, but I mean, I don't know anything more than anybody else. I'm just sharing by my human experience that I believe that to be true, and whatever sense that means. But that's just my 2 cents. But
and you know, on these 2 cents, that's the name of my commentary. But on the 2 cents, and I know this is definitely getting out into Wooville, but sometimes I even think maybe those people that we deem demonic, maybe they're not even human. Maybe they're hybrids. Maybe they're an entity from another dimension, even, because they're so outside of the sphere or the behavior that normal humans do. And like you said, maybe sometimes they even smell different because maybe they are different.
Yeah, yeah, that's a juicy one. We're like, I'm gonna have to start winding it down, but that's a juicy one, Nancy. We might have to get you for a part 2. I think we just started unpacking a few suitcases, and then we're like, okay, see you, everybody.
I'm in.
I love it, Bauer. Thank you for being that voice, incorporeal to corporeal. I'm saying that wrong. It's the nature of consciousness. I can see that. They can't walk the earth. They need a vessel. Oops, where is that? Yep. Oh yeah, 2 more hours. See, Nancy, they're teasing me. When I go live by myself, I'm like, guys, I'm just gonna talk for 5 minutes. And then the last few have been 2 hours. I unfortunately can't tonight, or today, but I'm definitely going to invite my friend Nancy back again.
I would love it.
Yes, I love this chat that's going on as well. Thank you very much to those of you in the YouTube chat, and I see you on Facebook too. Area 51's championing for 2 more hours. I'm so glad you've enjoyed this guest. Thank you, Roger Blair. We got to do this. Be sure to hit that like button on all those platforms. Hello again to the Twitch peeps. I'm back on there. The gamers right now are like, what did she just say?
And Heidi, I want to say before I leave that I love all your chatters, and I love all the people that have texted in, and I just love all of you, and it was such an honor to be with you. Thank you.
I'm so thrilled. Thank you for accepting my invitation. And I'm glad we got connected. So now we're going to stay in touch. I know they're bummed. They're like, what are you doing? Thanks, Heidi and Nancy. And you know what? Here's the deal, folks. You got to keep them wanting more. So
Yeah.
if you enjoyed this conversation, share it out. Thanks. And like and subscribe and bring us back on for another round. And I'll have my other setup. I hope the sound was okay. Sorry, pals. If you missed the very beginning, I had a technical difficulty, but we made it. We did through the whole thing and the charge did not drop. Paranormal Pixie, I see you there. Poncho, I see you. Pop goes. They're having some giggles. I love it. Yay. Okay. Thank you, all of you. I really appreciate you. Super side note, I will be talking with Neil Castledude tomorrow. I'm going live with him, noon and Pacific, I believe. I think in UK, that's 8 o'clock. And then I'm going to corral some pals for a last minute synaptic circle that changed. And next Thursday, it's Barry Littleton, Jessica Jones, and I, and we're going to talk about those 80s drive-in movie cryptids. That's going to be a synaptic circle. So thank you, Nancy. And I know we're going to do this again. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Love you, everybody. Love you.
Have a beautiful day.
You too.